What is up, people? What is going on? We got my man Dantá Williams in the house here on Principles of Passion, Season 3, Episode 7. My man, what's going on, Dantá?
What's happening with you, Chris? Thanks for having me on, man.
Oh, man. Blessings, blessings. I'm so grateful to have you on, man. I appreciate you just taking time out of your day. I heard when we were in the studio before the show, some little birds chirping in the background. So I know you living in your peace and in your element, man. I love that. I love that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, chilling in nature, man. Got to.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. So we on Season 3, y'all, Episode 7. The title tonight is The Art of Leading a Creative Business. What we do on Principles of Passion is we bring folks on that are overcoming, have overcome, or think they may have to overcome adversity, as we all will, while looking to find, define, and follow your passion. That word passion is such a deep word. I think it gets lost in translation sometimes. And at the end of the day, what your passion is, what your heart is, how you deliver to the world who you are, right? And the changes you want to make. And so, Dantá, again, I'm so appreciative of you coming on. I'll let you give a brief intro of who you want the world to know you as, and then I got some things to say about you that I would love to share, man. So who do you want the world to see you as on this show as we're talking about the art of leading a creative business?
Multi-platform consultant, DJ, photographer, filmmaker, lecturer, all that good stuff, as my boy Bolo would say.
All that good stuff. All of it. I love it. So, y'all, he being modest. He being modest. So let me, and I don't always like to give the whole thing, but I feel that this deserves its due because this man is talented, people. This man is talented. So Dantá Williams, as he mentioned, multi-platform consultant, designer, artist, writer, photographer, booker, filmmaker, and owner of his own business called Going Against the Grain Proposals. What he does is he specializes in consulting, creative design, web design, photography, business implementation, interactive story writing, booking, photography. I might be reading a couple of these a couple times, but the art and violence prevention, right? Community building is what it's all about around the Chicagoland area. He actually started it was one of the founding members of Triton's first hip hop club, right here in what city is that? I know it's not.
This was in River Grove, Illinois.
River Grove,
Illinois, western suburbs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So near West Side, right near Maywood. He's a lecturer on art and business, on entrepreneurship. He's going to be doing a workshop for our program as well and our young adults. I'm excited for that. What's the name of that again? Heritage? Tell me again.
Careers with hip hop. Careers with hip hop.
I love it.
Still with me?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You said heritage to hip hop. What was it?
Careers with hip hop.
Wasn't there
the
another
one is Heritage Hustle?
That's the one. That's the one. So
yeah, Hustle.
No, we'll have to clarify on which one we want to do too. I think that's my bad. I honestly love both of them, man. And so I'm excited to determine which one's going to work best. But just, a testament to the community, a testament to someone really putting their creativity first, right? Again, the title of the show, The Art of Leading a Creative Business. And that's not easy these days. You know what I mean? Tell me, Dantá, a little bit about your experience as it relates to that. Just opening up the floor to say whatever you feel freely to. But tell me about your experience in really diving into an area and multiple areas that are all creative. What's been some of your experience there?
Well, to be honest, a lot of my experience came out of my old neighborhood, Leclerc Courts, represent Leclerc Courts, shout out. And I grew up watching people do a whole bunch of, different things, whether it be drawing, whether it be, tumbling, uh, whether it be, just various forms of art. And a lot of times, to be honest, most people learn arts and things like that by seeing the people that grew up around. A lot of people didn't go to school for it, and what they do is apply whatever it is that they learned back in the day to what it is that they're doing now. That's pretty much been my experience. So just basically, you got in my background, dancing, DJing, networking, and putting shows together or being part of shows. That's pretty much where the creativity comes in. And then you have to format into a business to where people will want to participate. Nothing special.
So really, that's special, man. You did what we're teaching these young adults to do, right? You took your support system,
yeah,
right? You took the people that you looked up to, right? And you modeled yourself off of that, right? You picked a couple of
and people that I grew up with too, because a lot of us were around the same age.
So even looking at your own peers, right, to people that you look up to, and bouncing ideas off of that support system and building, right? Because sometimes we don't have that support system, And
no, not like we should. It's like back in the day we did, but not so much now.
Why do you? And I got a ton of questions I want to ask you, but as we're flowing with the conversation here, why do you think that it is that way, right? That we had that sense of mentorship at some point, and I would argue the point we haven't had it everywhere, right? We haven't had it in corporate and in sports and in some of those areas that lack, African Americans. But when we look at that, why do you feel there's that disconnect that we had better mentorship earlier, and now we may be lacking it a little bit?
It's been made not to be important anymore. I mean, anything that has to do with anybody making quote unquote money and opposed to making a living, it's always something that, is outside, something that's, a corporation or, a big prestigious title or whatever, instead of just, going back to the roots of what it is that we can do naturally, or we can bring out of ourselves naturally. It's not made important because people think that you won't be able to make money off of it, quote unquote. Hence that old saying, starve an artist. But on the flip side of that, you look in other backgrounds, they represent art like it's nothing. And, you see people making a pretty good living at it. I think what we have to do is show people that you can make a living, in the arts, or, combining arts with business. I mean, with so many different platforms out there, including digital, where people can just do anything that's art and business based. But again, the problem is it's not being made as important. It's not being pushed. People push STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but they don't push STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, so to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
Nobody really thinks like that. And then even, and I'm gonna keep it short, and then even, when people look at the arts, they've been conditioned to look at it from afar, like they won't be able to do this because they're not whoever it is they see doing it, on TV or social media or streaming media.
Right.
And that's, again, that goes back to my background. I grew up around DJs. I grew up with dancers. I grew up with writers. I grew up with painters. I grew up with the whole spiel, so it was nothing to me. Plus, being a weird kid, out of the projects.
Why were you weird, bro? Because you was an artist. Nah, you was an artist, bro. You wasn't weird, bro. You was a creative genius, bro. You was a creative genius. Real talk, right? And like, I know you're being modest, man. Yeah. You're doing some powerful stuff, man, in the community with your love and your passion for art. And like, man, that's the point. That's the point of this show. That's the point of what we're doing is so many of us get put in that box of like, yo, we weird. Like, nah, bro. That's you. That's you being you, bro. Right, Dante?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That weird.
But I mean, I was saying weird because I mean, you know, I like going to museums back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I still do it to this day.
Right.
Or, you know, different art gallery and shows and quote unquote, you know, still keep it street. And, you know, that those worlds need to really combine. Like I said, it was like that back in the day. It's not like that now because it's not being pushed like it should be.
I agree. I agree, brother. I appreciate that. So again, we're here on Principles of Passion, season 3, episode 7, just bringing on people, right? People that have overcome adversity in this creative space. Shout out to Mickey Grace. She couldn't make it on tonight. She had a family engagement. Just love the work she's doing. Yo, if you check out our website, you check out any of the market, anything, all Mickey Grace. Check her out. If you need some work done, you need some flyers done, Mickey Grace, she got you. I promise you that. Just love the direction we're going. Love the energy that we're pulling together with people. I don't know if y'all saw on the website, we have our scavenger hunt. Yo, I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's going to be nice. This Saturday,
bro,
right?
So July 11th, right? A couple Saturdays
July 11th.
out.
Okay.
But we got some historians involved, right? Like really look into, when you look at creativity and you look at what it, like creativity can be in any, and it could be in IT, right? And I want to get into that a little bit later in terms of what some of those differences are. But what we're looking to do is be creative in the way we connect community, right? Be creative in the way we reimagine education, right? Like be creative in the way we go through our town and take a bike ride. You know what I'm saying? And that creativity is what's going to change, right? Everyone's like, the time is now. We got to train. Well, what are we going to, we got to march? We're going to protest all day? We're going to rally all day? Or are we going to try and change the lens and the perception of how people are looking at their narrative, right? Not their historical narrative, but the narrative around the media portrayal, right, of all of us as people. It tries to weave us in this direction. But if we're going to be creative, I think that's the important thing, is look at how do we continue to do that more actively. And so, again, if y'all haven't checked in, please do. Your Passion 1ST. We would love for y'all to come out, volunteer. We're looking for donations for this bike rally. Well, let me say 2 things. We're going to do, let me hold my tongue. We're looking for bikes for people. Let me just leave that part at that. Our bike scavenger hunt is July 11th. Check the website for just any information on that. Dante, how do people, if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to, they want to get an understanding of where their strategies are as it relates to their music, as it relates to their organization, as it relates to the clarity between understanding and equity, right? Like, how do people get in touch with you?
They can hit my Facebook page up, Dantá Williams, or they can hit me up through, LinkedIn, and they can also hit me up on my regular email address, DANTAWILLIAMS @mail.com. As in MAIL.com, as
right.
in,
I was like for days, like, hold on, is it the word? I'm not gonna say the word. Is it the word? Because I don't want to cloud you. But are you sure that's the right email? He's like, nah, bro. Mail.com. Just mail.com. Dantá Williams, mail.com. I love it, bro. I love it.
I have that email address for a long time. It hasn't failed me yet. And then I have my secondary, which is GATG, which is short for Going Against the Grain, DW Consultant @gmail.com.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate that. So just wanted to give that check in. Again, a couple more shouts out. Shout out to my boy Ernie Scadden. One of my boys, bro. My boys.
Nice.
Just good people doing some great things. Always has done great things in the broadcasting space. Just one of my boys, bro. Shout out to Martin Ho, Traceable Change. Amazing people. If you need any help with any creative, innovative technology design, again, Traceable Change. Google them. Martin Ho, Traceable Change. Mickey Grace, I said that already. Just trying to think of, man. Shout out to people who are just doing the thing right now and who have helped me. I want to help them. I know they're doing their thing. Shout out to Kayla Peterson and her boy Aaron. They're doing some big things, mentoring and coaching. Shout out to Danny Kovac. Shout out to Shauna and Danny Morales. Shout out to my boy Damian Jones. And shout out to everyone, right? That's helping in the space, right? That's helping in the space of closing the opportunity divide, closing the equity divide, closing the divide, and looking at how do we help our Black and brown people, right? When we say brown, I'm talking about our Black communities, right? Hey, Hispanics, got love for you. My son is Mexican. I call him my little beaner, right? Half Mexican. So, right. Hey, but we're at a time right now where we're talking about racial injustices. And so, Dante, my man.
Yo.
First question, right? And we touched on this earlier. I'm going to put it on the screen. In your opinion, what elements make a business creative? Again, just think about marinate. I'm going to give you a minute to just marinate on it.
No, I got an answer already.
Oh, he said already. All right, good. Again, let me repeat it one more time, though. In your opinion, or what elements make a business creative?
You need two things. You need immersion and you need imagination.
You said immersion?
You got to go deep into immersion. You got to go deep into what it is that you want to do, especially when you're dealing with other people in business. You have to find out everything you can and see, in a different way how you'll be able to help them. So and,
when you say that, let me just pause. Hold on.
Yo.
When you say, I want to take it in chunks because we say a lot.
Okay.
And I want to make sure so when you say that immersion, is that like having an understanding? Is that like putting yourself, like fully immersing like, what do you mean by that? Immersing yourself? What do you mean?
Yeah. If you can't find out about their industry or, field, I say, study up on it or, check out some people that are doing the same thing. I mean, get really involved, right. Which is immersion.
Right. So by being creative and making that business creative, like really looking at how do you look at the business, like truly innately in itself, right? Like what is the basis and foundation of the business? And then doing whatever you want from there almost. Right? Like what is the vision and mission? And then the element is that, right? Having that foundation. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Yeah, man. When I look at just understanding, I think that's a word that gets so loosely thrown around. And I look at creative businesses. IT can be creative, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Art, right? When you say that IT can be an art form in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I've seen people do some
you might be frozen, really but we hear you. I'm like, you got that beautiful smile right now, but we hear you. So keep going.
Nice, and thank you. I've seen a lot of people do really creative things, with IT, and that's why I say the imagination comes in. Because, you can look at anything, you can look at a different problem, or you can look at a product, or you can look at a system, and, just start asking questions to yourself. Okay, you can even imagine it's your own business. Okay, if this was my business, how would I want it? But since this is another person's business, how can I put in, what it is they want to bring out to the world with, the way that I do it. So, I mean, it'll really, make what it is that they're doing stand out. even though you had a hand in it.
Mm.
And a lot of you know, people that I've seen that have done IT, everything from design websites to apps to even you know, full response systems. That's exactly how they do it. They take it you know, direct from the head. They just imagine, but at the same time, you know, have to be, you know, courteous, and you have to be understanding, because a lot of times when people do have business and they put a creative hand on it, they already don't know what to do. They want you to do their thinking for them instead of working with them. And that's what I always attempt to do, work with them. I mean, I believe the days are gone when, you know, people would just go off into a cave or something like that and create you know, magnificent works. I believe in, you know, collaboration in most cases. I mean, as long as people know you know, they can come to you and they can tell you exactly what it is they want, and you're able to you know, guide them through it step by step, you know, you'll usually come up with something amazing or pretty cool at the least.
Yeah. Two things I really loved what you said, man, is imagination and understanding. Right? Imagination and understanding. Imagination is creativity. And that goes into any job, right?
Yes.
Anywhere you go in life, if you're looking to live beyond what's here and look for what's possible, you have to imagine, right? Because you've never seen that. You've never seen what that possibility could be. And so you have to take it to that point of imagining something different, something that's never been there, something where you have that uncomfortability in your heart where you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Well, it's never been done before. So of course you should feel a little bit anxious because it's never been done before.
Yeah.
And so I love that part. And the other part I love what you said is, along with that imagination, right? And thinking that in your wheels, as you imagine in your wheelhouse, it doesn't become anything until you put it on paper, until you have a conversation with someone about it, until it's something with someone else. Unless you're just writing poems to yourself all day, right? But at some point you're looking to get it out to the world, right? And to try and to get other people to connect, right, with what that is that you want to share. And so that understanding isn't, and again, I don't want to take away from any artist that's like, fuck everyone, I'm gonna do what I want to do and it's my art. Like listen, go do your art. Go do your art, right? I ain't taking away from that. What I am saying is an understanding that we all have love to give to the world, and our love comes out of whatever our art or our creativity is. If you're like, I'm going to do whatever I want, then we're not taking into account that understanding of the people. And I'm not saying let that understanding guide us, because there's a lot of people out there whose understanding is off, right? And so we have to be true in our artistic ability, right?
Also not artistic. Yeah.
But go ahead. I was going off on a tangent. I'll let you dive in there and say whatever, man.
No, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, you said, you know, sometimes the thinking is off, and you know, in my case, sometimes it's non-existent. Sometimes people just can't imagine, you know, what can be if they haven't seen somebody else do it before. Yeah. And a lot of times, I mean, you know, you're gonna have people that are, you know, gonna down it. They may even try to sabotage it. But again, at the end of the day, it's your vision. It's not theirs. So even if you do get that, you know, that idea, that thought, and that immersion and imagination comes in with it, it's still your vision to, you know, bring it out however you want to. And again, when you deal with other people, you have to at least understand their vision so you can help them, you know, bring out what it is they want to bring out.
That's beautiful, man. That's that consultative mindset, right? Not the traditional way of sales, right? In terms of, here's my product, here it is. But no, let me understand you first. Let me understand what your needs are. And then from there, we could build a relationship. We can see where we can both help each other, or where maybe I could just help you today, right? And you may never help me again, but you know, you build that cycle of just helping. And that's the beauty of it, man. So appreciate that, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You have to show that you care, and that's also part of part of the process.
So here's another one, and this is a tougher one, but
Yeah, go ahead.
it's one that I've done 10. So before, and it's funny story. Let me relate this to Jason Fewstar. Shout out to Jason Fewstar.
What's up, Jason?
What up, Jace?
What's Park's finest?
Go ahead. How do you know Jason? And then I'll tell how coincidental it is that we found out we were connected. But how do you know Jason?
Yeah, me and Jason, we went to college together. Up at Triton. Yeah. And we was in a couple of classes, and we just vibe like that. And then we really big fans of jazz too. And we done kicked it at a couple of jazz shows, and we even did a couple of sessions. So big shout out to Jason Fewstar, Forest Park's finest.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna tell you, man. So in 2002, I got out of the Marines. I had gotten in a little trouble. Okay. Some people know that, some people don't. And my goal was always to work with kids. And so my boy, another shout out, Adrian Echevarria, was working at Oak Park Community Center. I was like, bro, come on over. And I started working there. And then I shifted over to Forest Park, working over there with Karen, Deluski, the whole, I was my home for a minute. But I met Jason there, just first coming in, working with the young adult. Well, at that time, it was working with the elderly and the kids over there. Kids ages, I believe it was these little crumb gobblers, like picking up stuff off the ground, like, yo, get that out your mouth. Like 4-year-olds, bro, all the way up to 12. And just such memories over there, man, at that Forest Park pool, Forest Park Community Center. Karen started that Rib Fest over there. So just shout out to them. Right. They've been doing amazing things. Shout out to Maui, Forest Park Against Racism. Just really making changes in the community too over there. So shout out to that whole Forest Park community over there,
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get to this question though, right? When you talk about leading creative businesses, how is that different than traditional staffing firms, traditional manufacturing, traditional, even IT. I don't even know if I want to call that traditional anymore, but like some of the traditional financial services firms like Northern Trust, right?
Yeah.
Progressive, but still very traditional. Like, how is leading a creative business different from leading a business like some of those?
Well, I hope you ready for this answer. I'm gonna go ahead and break it down. A lot of those businesses are structured and they have a certain format that you can't deviate away from. Creative, you can just have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit of autonomy, and a lot of times, in businesses, that are structured, they have a set amount of clients and a set amount of products of what it is they deal with, and even projects. When you're creative, you can take on as many projects as you want, or you can change projects. So that idea of flexibility and autonomy, and to be able to do what it is that you want and still be able to relate to people, and then get different products and businesses and services out there, be it physical or digital. And plus, it's a lot more fun. You hear more about people that are in structured environments killing over at the age of 40, and I'm 41 right now.
I'm 36 for life, but I'm almost there, bro. I'm almost there.
I got you. You'll get there. But and I know I don't look it, but yeah. Being in environments like that, because I've been in the corporate world and, other things like that, I've seen how they work, and I'm like, man, now you understand why people have strokes. Now you understand why people have heart attacks, because they don't feel like it's their job. They're making that money for somebody else, and they getting a little bit of what's left over. Right. When you're creative, you pretty much make your own money, and you have that decision of whether you want to work with this person or not work with this person. A lot of times when you're in the structure, the client has the decision of whether or not they want to work with your company. Creative is the other way around.
I love that.
And I think that gives everybody, you know, a sense of peace and health.
I love that. I wanna just give some, you know, acknowledgement to something you said that someone else has brought up to me before. And again, she's not here, but every time I think of something, I got to give a shout out to Mickey Grace. She brought up this terminology, this difference, intrapreneur versus entrepreneur, right? Intrapreneur versus entrepreneur. And as we look at, first of all, as we look to organizations, but as we look at organizations, right, we look at trying to be more relatable, trying to be more understanding. It's really hard for organizations as a whole. When I say organizations, like, let's clarify that word first and foremost. There's corporate, there's our education system. That's another. There's our sports industries, right? The challenge I see with all of those is that they're lacking the understanding at the top, right? And when I say that, we're sports, for example, 70% are African American.
Yep.
On the field, I think we got in baseball, we got like what, 3, 4 black coaches out of 28 teams, right? Football, we got 30 teams. We got like 8. Like don't quote me on the numbers. I know that for sure.
No, go ahead.
Organizations, we got like 1% black. We've only had like 8 or 9 black CEOs since 1999, right? Out of 1,000 companies. So, so when I look at that understanding, I truly feel we have to look at the whole system that you mentioned, right? That system that's in place of when we look at a creative business and a non-creative business, what system allows for people to say who they are, feel who they want to be, regardless of the industry, regardless of whether you're finance, whether you're IT, whether you're manufacturing, whether you're labor, right? But how do we define the structure, right? The structure that's been built. We could go there. That's another episode. But how do we redefine that structure? You know what I mean? And so that's what I look at, you know, for me when leading a creative business and looking at the differences. The difference is there is a parochial, conservative, structural nature to businesses that are not creative. And that doesn't have to be the case. So, you know, that's my 2 cents. I mean, what else, anything you want to add to that, Dante, that you know, sticks out? You know, I love everything you said, man. I really appreciate all of it.
Yeah. It's the truth though. And you know, people can even test it and you see it. I'm reminded of a quote that somebody said, and this was off a documentary that I got about 10 years ago. Then I had to get it again. A lot of these companies, they make themselves sound, corporations, you know, in particular, they make themselves sound, you know, efficient, friendly, accessible, but that's really an illusion. That's what they give you in order to lure you in. When, you know, a lot of creative businesses that I've seen and been involved in, they actually are efficient. They actually are, you know, accessible, and they actually are friendly. But I guess when you are a, you know, big multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar company, the only thing that those words matter about is if you're putting money into my business. That makes me more like that. You still can't get close to me, but at least you'll get the illusion that you are.
Right. Right. Yeah. I love that, man. It's unprecedented. I know that's a word that keeps getting thrown. Unprecedented. unprecedented times. But it's
Yeah, very
really
unprecedented.
an opportunity, you know, to look at all these things, to look at how we've been reacting, how we've been doing things, how we've been doing the same stuff, with education, with corporate, with just individuals, man. Like how do we communicate together better, right? How do we work better together? You know what I mean? And like I
Yeah,
think that can
and
go a long
that's
way.
about to be a lost art. That is about to be a lost art, unfortunately.
Mm,
I still have faith in it, but
yeah,
the way people, are communicating with each other, and not even considering this circumstance, but this has been happening for years.
right.
But people have just, not been paying attention to it. People have to connect a little bit more. Understood that, people have families, they have other obligations and everything, but people really want to work together and make those relationships, especially, with families and friends. Communication is a two-way street. People have to put that effort in. I mean, imagine if we didn't have social media or anything like that, and we were still in this time, how would we still connect with each other? Would it be like it was back in the day, or would it be better, or would it be worse? But with the advent of social media, some connections unfortunately have gotten severed. Some connections, unfortunately, have been, broken up because of what somebody said online about somebody, or whatever the case may be. Instead of coming face to face, okay, this is, what the issue is. This is, or this is what's going on. How can we resolve this? Or even if it's not any issues, but, how can we connect to where we can do more projects with each other? How can we support each other? How can we reach out to these other companies that are creative? How can we reach out to these other creative individuals? Nobody's really talking about that like they should, let alone acting on it.
Yeah,
So I've seen and heard.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people talking, you know, that are not taking action, and I think we have to be sensitive as well, just to the nature of where our economic state is, where our physical state is, where our health is at risk. Um,
Exactly.
but
And
even
that's
still,
everything, even before
there's
this.
opportunity. You know, there's opportunity to do things. It's just you gonna talk about it. Or you gonna, in the words of my boy Damien, you gonna walk the walk. You gonna walk the walk, or you gonna talk the talk. So yeah, no, I hear it, man. I hear it. I hear it. So let me ask you this, bro. And looking at, this is a struggle, right? There's organizations that are challenged right now. There's people that are challenged and looking at, what do I need to do, right? When like everyone trying to get a job right now,
Right.
the unemployment rate is at an all-time high, right? And
Yep.
so,
Yep.
what are the skill sets that you feel are necessary for leading a creative team, right? Not even starting the creative business, but
Right.
to help some of those people out there that maybe right now trying to get through the muck and keep their business afloat, but also to the organizations and people. Let me take that back, to the people that are looking to get into creative industries or looking to bring their talents into a creative space of being either able to influence networks and influence talent and get a job, or to brand themselves. Like,
Right.
what skill sets do you feel are necessary for leading a creative team in the 21st century?
To me, you basically have to be versed in traditional and creative aspects of work, because you can't be a one-dimensional pony, especially now. You have to have a multitude of set skills. Some people call them hard skills and soft skills, um, and sometimes they're called just basically being a person that somebody, that other people can work with and want to work with.
Right.
So out of those skills, listening is very important. Um, Asking questions is very important.
Hey, when you say listen, right? Because we talked
Yeah.
earlier about understanding. Can you hone in on that a little bit? How maybe that ties into like everything you do, and how Like listening isn't just, oh, I heard. Like, what do you mean intentionally about that listening and understanding?
You really have to pay attention, because remember, you're part of a team too. So if one person chokes, that's the whole team in most cases. When it's a creative environment, everybody has to listen to each other, because problems will arise and challenges will arise, and somebody may come up with an idea and it'll get shot down just like that.
Right.
Instead of a person being like, okay, that's an idea, okay, how can we elaborate on it, or how can we maybe reduce a little bit to where everybody will be able to put their own part into it, and we can create something from there. Nobody really listens. It's just they say a team is only as great as its leader. But I feel, when a person, is a leader, they also give the team, leeway to, ask the leader questions, or to suggest, to the leader, or even sometimes demonstrate. Be like, okay, I see it like that. I mean, this is the plan that I had out, but we can incorporate this, or we can shave it down a little bit.
Right.
And, it'll be something that everybody can do. I mean, they do that in sports, so they can do that in creativity. You have to listen, so you know exactly what's going on, and you know what your position is, or you know exactly, what it is that you have to do, and you know what everybody else is doing. Now, in the same way of traditional work, especially if somebody is absent or didn't come in or don't know something, the next person has to step up to take over that person's, duties, for the day or the week or however. In the creative side, people, at least you'll, know what that person is doing in case they can't do it or whatever. Okay, I got an idea. We can keep doing what it is we're doing. We can come back to when that person comes back, or we can put somebody in to step in, for that minute, or we can all learn from each other, the different skills that everybody brings to the table. And in case this person doesn't show up, or that person doesn't want to show up, we at least know what their part is, and we can do that. And that's the most important part of listening. That way, not only everybody, gets heard, but everybody will understand, exactly, what's going on. There won't be any misunderstanding. There won't be no, I didn't hear that, I didn't know that. Everybody's on the same page. That's basically what listening is. You're on the same page with the person that, is giving you information or you're receiving information from.
I love that. The same page. I want to add some clarity to two things you said. One thing you said is the team is only as good as its leader. And one thing that I've learned over time, that is so, so true. But what any good leader will also tell you is that a team is only as good as its weakest link. And so
exactly.
One thing I remember in boot camp, bro, this is a funny story. So people that know, they know I got a big old head and I'm short and I'm 5'5". And from anybody that know me from like 5th, 6th grade, they know I used to have a bubble booty, right? I've been working out, y'all, so don't think it's still there. But I remember in boot camp being short, right? In the Marines back in 99, right? And I remember, like I said, always as strong as your weakest link. They used to put the short people in the very, 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 very back. Like, listen, y'all, my strides are not long, right? I cannot walk fast in comparison to 6'1", 6'2". Like, I'll sprint, right, over, right, give me a short. But, like, when it comes to that, these walks, and so they used to always be like, keep it up, big head, because they used to have to slow down for us, and they would yell at us. But when I look at being as strong as your weakest link, they had to make us better, but we had to make them better. We had to get them to walk in stride with us, but we had to walk faster. And so it was looking at the situation equitably, right? Like when you look at going into an organization these days and leading a business and going into an organization and trying to build relationship with people, you can't go into it like you at the big end, You can't go into it like you're at the little end. You can't go into it like you're in the middle. You got to go into it like that's like one line, that's one rope, that's one movement. There's one communication going through that. And so the skill is, like you mentioned, understanding, but understanding not from, oh, I'm at the front end, right? Or, oh, I'm at the back end, or, oh, I'm in the middle. It's understanding of everyone that's involved, right? In that whole march for 17 miles, right? And understanding the part that you play in that march, right? And that's true understanding as we go into the creative business 21st century and looking at, right, diversity, equity, inclusion, all of those, right? A lot of companies are being diverse. A lot of companies are being inclusive. Are you being equitable? Are you being truly understanding? Right? And that's the theme I keep hearing, Dante, and everything you're saying, everything I'm feeling is, how do we understand each other better in community, in corporate, in sports? And that's one of the skills that I think are necessary for leading a creative team in the 21st industry, man. So thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing on that one. Anything else you want to add on that one? Any other thoughts that come to mind?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that thing about boot camp. We did something. We used to do stuff like that over the summer called leadership games, and we would do everything from form a ladder to like a human chain, but everybody had to be on the same page. You had to know what everybody was doing. We were presented with a problem, and we actually had to use each other in order to solve that problem. Sometimes a leader wasn't appointed. Sometimes it was just the team, and the leader would be on the sideline telling us what to do. Okay, you're forming this chain to do this, or you got to form this human ladder to do that, or how are you going to get here without injuring yourself? It was a lot of stuff like that. Trust is also very important too. You have to be able to trust people, and they have to be able to trust you, which
Trust.
is also a part of leadership.
Yep, that trust. That's relationship building, man. And like I flew through my life for a while just trying to hurry up and get to the destination, you know? And I feel like I forgot to build relationship and trust with people. And not like, oh, I trust you, like you're gonna take something from me, but like, nah, bro, like that like, yo, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna be there. And if you need something from me, you know I'm gonna be there. But I was so busy trying to get to where I needed, I forgot to stop along the way and see what other people needed. And I think that again, that's just that understanding piece, man, of trying to look at people and how do we like look at them where they are, you know? So
Yeah. Well, that's a saying too. It's a road. Some people say perfection is a road, not a destination. I mean, as you go through your journey, especially your creative journey, you're going to meet a lot of different people, and you're going to do a lot of different things. It's always important, even if you don't make the connections, you at least experience, what's going on, and you take that with you, and you might make those connections, down the road or down the line. And a lot of people don't think like that. They just think from getting to point A to point B. Frank Lloyd Wright and different creatives, over the decades of said things on how they get there. Instead of going to that straight line, they went this way, they went that way, they went front, they went back, they went sideways, but they still ended up where they need to go. Uh, One of my contemporaries, Godfather of house music, Frankie Knuckles, he made a saying, and this was back when he won his Grammy back in 1998. From the Grammy Awards, even though they didn't air it on TV. And it eventually became remixed non-classical. Basically, what he said was, you can have as many awards as you want, you can do as many remixes as you want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you in a room with a room full of people and two turntables and a mixer. You'll always end up back where you started. So that's humbling, in this sense, and that's also part of, your destination as well. There's no I feel, and I've been feeling that ever since I was, you know, a teenager, and seeing people do things. There's no thing as you made it, or you're gonna make it. I feel more is you're doing it, you're done it, and you're going to do more until you stop.
You're doing it. You're doing it. I love that. I posted something earlier about, you know, I'm big on, and I haven't always been this way, man. And I don't know if I've ever suffered deep depression, but in looking back on some of the things that I felt and looking at how I feel now, I definitely feel like there's been times I've been depressed. But what I was talking about earlier is like living in that space of those thoughts versus the actions, right? And the way to pull yourself out of that depression and out of that state of being of I can't is to put yourself into a state of being. Like, no, I don't got to go be anything tomorrow. I got an opportunity right now today to be what I want to be, right? I got an opportunity to take action on it right now here today. And that's not just a today thing. That's over the course of time, as my boy Dom Semino says, life in increments, right? I'm doing it little chunks, little 5% every day or 2% or 1% every day. And like, that's the beauty of it is we got an opportunity every day to wake up and put your passion first, little bits at a time. Define what your principles of passion are. And like, that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? So love that, man. Love that. Appreciate that, brother.
Definitely. You have to think of it like that. You have to.
You got to, man. You got to. So what are some things that you've done in your life? And let me pull this question off. How about that? Because let me go off script a minute. And we got to 8:30. We could go a little bit over, man. But what I would ask you is if you could pick one point in your life, bro, where you were like I can't do this. I ain't gonna make it through this. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna make it through this. I think I'm gonna either be dead, I'm gonna be broke, I'm gonna be something. I'm not gonna be where I want to be. But in that moment, or over the course of those few weeks or few months, in that time frame, you were able to dig out of that, and that's probably the best thing you ever did was dug out of that. Do you recall? I know this is off script, and I know it may be a harder question, but I feel like some of our creatives get to that point, bro. And I think if they heard your story of what was going through your mind when you got there and how you pulled out of that adversity, away from that, and to where you are right now, I think that could be beneficial. So can you recall a point or 2 points like that where that may have happened?
Yeah, it was a few. If I can get a little bit personal, it had to be when I was 15 and I lost my mother. And it was just, my eldest sister and my older brother, me and my niece. And for the people who pretty much, gave my mother the utmost respect, it's like a lot of people turned on us and, said a whole bunch of negative things about us from what we were doing, when she was here. Not saying we were the smartest kids on the block or anything like that, but I mean, we really pursued what it is that we wanted to pursue per se. And when she passed, it was, my sister and my brother were just entering early adulthood, and I was entering my sophomore year of high school. I didn't think I can do anything anymore because she wasn't here to see it. And people deal with those kind of losses, in a different way. Knowing that she'll never see is she saw the beginnings of what it was that I was doing, from when I was a kid all the way up to age 15. And, that's already, messed up in itself, because every, person on the planet want to do something to please their mother. They want to buy them that big house. They want to buy them that car. They want to, send them all over the world. There's a lot of different things. And I never, will be able to do that. And that right there was messed up in itself. And I didn't even cry when it happened. I didn't even cry. Even when we were at the service, I didn't cry, but it was just, like everything shut down. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to, do anything but at all. But one of the last talks that me and my mother had, and she passed a couple of weeks after that, also, taking me to what would have been my first job. She passed 3 weeks before I started, and she passed, 3 weeks after she gave me this lecture. She told me basically, and this still stays with me, and this is what keeps me going. Don't just be good at something, master it. And that right there, was my inspiration to get out of whatever rut that I was in with her not being here and a few other things. And it happened again 3 years ago when I lost my father. And he didn't really get to see what I was doing. I showed him bits and pieces. He wanted some business cards, for a little something that he was working on. And I remember taking him up to the hospital where he was so he could see the cards. And he saw what I was doing. But as far as the lectures and everything, I invited him out for years, and he said he couldn't do it. Either he wasn't interested or he, just didn't think it was important. And I kept thinking that whatever, vision, when my mother and my father were here and when they both left, it was put in me. So whatever vision that you have, and this was told to me a long time ago, a lot of times when you have a call on your life or you have a vision put in you, you will go through hell. It's going to be times that you're going to cry. There's going to be times you get frustrated. There's going to be times to where you get to that point to where I can't do this anymore. And then you come to that question of why am I doing this? And then it pops back into you like, okay, this is why. This is my vision. This is what I'm supposed to do. As, painful as it is, and that's what a struggle is, as painful as that is, this is your vision. It's not the idea of going through it and, getting there through all odds. But, those things shape you and they shape your art. They shape your creativity. They shape, whatever vision that you have. And that's what basically got me out of it. Not just knowing what it is that I wanted my mother to see and my father to see, it's what I wanted to see. I know they'll be proud regardless, whether they were here or not. So those are like two of the most, down moments that I had. And it was another moment, when some people go through that where they, and Napoleon Hill talked about this, the father of self-help. You got to go through something incredibly tragic just to get some clarity and some understanding. And even if it's, adversity, you have to learn from it. And you just keep going. You can't let that adversity or those, experiences make you bitter, make you quit, make you give in, make you give up, or turn you into something that you're not. I mean, because the world and the people in it that do kinds of negative things that influence you directly or indirectly, whether you believe it or not, you're being influenced. You still have to, stay on your square. You still have to, go from right and wrong. You still have to use your good, your good sense and your common sense. You just have to be on point and, use whatever experience that you went through, good and bad, as inspiration, to keep following your vision, and it'll get you to the top. Now, in certain situations, and especially with certain backgrounds, you don't really hear those kinds of stories. Either because they prepared for it or, they had different circumstances. But with Black people, it seems to be that's the rule. You have to go through hell in order to get to where you are. I don't believe it, but it does happen. And it's a lot of other stories I could tell you about, especially with friends that have, went through something, or they were on the brink of something, and something you know, unfortunate happened, and then they had to work them on their way either through it, which I always found myself doing, instead of out of it. If you could work yourself out of it, more power to you. But if you work through it, you know, you get a little bit of grounding. So basically, to bring it home, you know, every experience that you have, you know, be it good or bad, is, you know, it's gonna shape you. How you deal with it, or, you know, like I said, it's life is you know, 10% of what happens and 90% of what it is that you do with it. You have to keep in mind, I'm still here. I still have the opportunity to do what it is that I was called to do, or what my vision is to do. And that'll pretty much bring you out of whatever rut you're in. That and a good support system.
I just want to commend you and acknowledge for sharing things that are difficult to share. You know, sometimes death is bittersweet, right? It's our sadness, but it's also our motivation to remember the people that told us that we could be something greater, right? And that's so important, to cherish those moments and not live in their memories, but live in the thought and the possibility of who they saw you as, who they thought you could be, right? What they knew that you could create. And so I'm just appreciative of your share. I'm appreciative of your time, brother. You know, your energy, your spirit, you know, your community-based approach to creativeness, to the arts, to STEAM. I'm wholeheartedly appreciative of all that, brother. You know, one thing I want just people to really think about, you know, as we journey into this unprecedented time, creativity is not about necessarily the arts, right? We create
Exactly.
with the words that we speak out of our mouth, right? The second I say something to someone else, I better be showing up the way I said it, because if I do show up that way, I have the opportunity to make my word bond, right? To really create that. And so I implore everyone to start to think about that as you go around and you create yourself and your new you to the world. Are you being who you say you're going to be? Are you doing what you say you're going to do? Right? Are you being a person of integrity? Are you understanding other people in their element, right? And not forcing them to look at the world through your point of view, right? And so we got to ask ourselves those questions, people. We got to continue to. This is not a 1 week thing, a 1 month thing, a 1 year thing, a 1 decade thing, a 1 century thing, right? We done already been through a few centuries of it. This work ain't gonna stop, but we're illuminated right now. I hope, right? It's time for change. And again, Dante, just appreciative of some of the work you're doing to create that change. I hope that people can, you know, check out our website, check out Facebook, Your Passion 1ST. Again, Your Passion First. The website's yourpassionfirst.com. Your Passion 1ST on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're looking to make changes and come out to our historic scavenger hunt we're doing July 11th. We're looking for volunteers. You can donate. You can sign up to be a volunteer. You can sign up to be a participant. If you need a bike, let us know. We're working on ways to get people bikes, working with some different organizations to see how to make it equitable. Everyone can't afford a bike. Everyone doesn't have a bike. Everyone doesn't know how to ride a bike, right? How do we make that work? I will show some people how to ride a bike, right? We're working on this bike drive next week. So enough plugs for Your Passion 1ST. I'm going to let Dante finish it up with anything he wants to plug on himself, his community, any people that he wants to give shouts out to, any way people can find him, anything, Dante, you want to say.
Man, again, you know, thanks for this opportunity. Like I said, you know, people could check me out on Facebook. They could check me out on LinkedIn. My email address is dantawilliams@mail.com. GATGBW consultant@gmail.com. Shout out to my neighborhood, the Clark Courts. I mean, if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be no me. Shout out to all my people, from that area. Shout out to DJ Jermaine. We came up together. He's now MC Light's road DJ. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, we just came around that. Elliot Dugar, he's a writer. My cousin Tony, he owns his own trucking company, and he's trying to get a music label off the ground. A couple of my partners in crime, I call these my brothers. DJ Eddie Fields, DJ Bolo, from Soul Cafe Radio. Gonna bring that back pretty soon. Alec Wright, Ghetto DJs, the Hot Mix 5. My brother, DJ Bassman, my brother Anton Gary, my brother Sean Williams, my best friend who's he's a cop, Paris Thompson, Sergeant, Chicago Police. Do your thing, do it right.
Do it right.
See everybody, I got down with, over the years, and DJing, dance, art, acrobatics. Yeah, because I used to flip back in the day. And, just everybody that's ever impacted me and that I've impacted. And, special shout out, to a lot of my family members, both, my family and my family in Leclerc Courts that are no longer here. That inspired me and, that were around and, helped me along the way. And I got to see, the potential in them, but unfortunately they weren't here to really realize it as they should. And some did, but, they still left. So, much love and respect to them. And shout out to you for, bringing me on this. Shout out to Shy Rock Nation. Shout out to my hip hop brothers, the Dean of Hip Hop and Brave Monk.
Brave. Brave. We gonna have to connect. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Brave. For about 18 years. It's my little brother.
I have not known him well. He did a dope performance for us at our last event, man. So that's dope.
And definitely, and I got to shout out, to another background, to all the cats that's doing, the second coming of footwork. Isaac Harris, aka Crossfire, my little brother Kwanzi, Mad Dog from Footwork Kings, Prince J. Ron, Basic, Lightbulb, and a couple other cats, from Era. Just everybody, and my little big sis, Creative Soul Entertainment, Erica Jarvis, and other guy, Jarvis Mason, and just everybody I ever rocked with in the creative space, and of course artistic, and my cousin Orko. So that's just house music, hip hop, b-boying, graffiti, acrobatics, creating things. And I got a shout out to my barber Alden. I need to get my hair done.
That was the best laugh. It's like, oh, and this fade. Yes, I owe you one, bro. That was awesome, bro. That was awesome. Yo, shout out to all of Dante's people. We appreciate you supporting amazing people like him. I'm sure that everyone he mentioned is equally as amazing. And, I think that support has been reciprocal. Otherwise, I'm sure he wouldn't be mentioning y'all names. So I support y'all as well. We support you as your passion first. And as I always like to end it, I think this is one of the most important things in life. In order to follow your dreams, you gotta put your passion first. We here, hope to see y'all out at the scavenger hunt. Y'all gonna get to see us one more time before then next week. And then we'll be going with that July 11th. We'll probably have the bike event as well. If anyone needs bikes, I believe that'll be Wednesday or Thursday. So just stay tuned, Your Passion First on Facebook. We'll post anything social media oriented, and it should be on our website as well. So again, In order to follow dreams, you got to put your passion first. Dantá Williams, much love, brother. Peace, love, and understanding. One. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and you know, to your audience, especially when it comes to creativity, remember you can do it too. You don't just have to aspire to look at people that are, you know, doing things or creative from the outside. You got it within you. Bring it out. You can do it too.
I love it. I love it. Just stay on for a minute, all right, Dantá?
Yeah.